This is Breaking Down Security, and I am Brian Brake. Welcome back, listener. After a long hiatus, this is Brian, Mr. Betcher, and Miss Berlin for Breaking Down Security.
Hello.
Hey.
Well, maybe it's not such a long hiatus. I mean, for most people, it's been like a week and a half since we had the Zero Trust thing on. But for us, it's actually been almost about 3 weeks we've seen each other.
Yeah, I know.
Because we recorded that one probably a week before I actually left for Sands. So
I've gone into a deep depression.
Did you?
No.
Did you miss us?
A repression.
Wow. Repressed all those memories, huh?
All right.
Yeah. Well, I had a great time in San Diego. It was almost perfect weather. It was like mid-70s, about 23, 24 C there. It was very nice. It was only cloudy one day. A lot of great people I met there at Sands. I met several people from the Seattle area were down there. There was Scott, who works for an aircraft company up here. Ryan, who works for a company in downtown Seattle, and then there's David, who also works for an airline company, and then a guy named Yasik, who lives in San Diego as well. He works for a similar threat intelligence company, very similar to the one I work for, so we went through, and Mr. Strand was our teacher, and he's a fantastic instructor. If you ever have a chance to take one of the classes he does, you should definitely do that.
Yeah.
Wow. I think we're a little off, aren't we? The rhythm's a bit off. Yeah. So Mr. Betcher took 542 with me a long time ago. Amanda, have you ever taken a SANS course?
I have not.
Why not? Is that because your company won't pay for it? Or you just haven't had any interest?
They looked into paying for a couple of them once. Right now we're looking at some other training. I'll have to look it up. But it looks really, really good. It's like threat hunting stuff.
Oh.
It looks pretty sweet.
Yeah.
But no, I've just never had the opportunity to take a SANS course.
Yeah, I actually got some audio from Mr. Strand and Frank Kim, who actually was our first interview ever on the show. Unfortunately, the audio sucked and the acoustics were awful in the hotel, so I have it, but it sounds like we were like 15,000 miles away over ham radios or something. So I've tried doing cleanup on it, but it's ultimately unusable. So. But yeah, I enjoyed the class. We had 63 people in the class. SANS 504, it's not to be underestimated. I actually thought that the first 2 days were I thought I could take on the world or something with this, and then the last 3 days just kicked my ass completely, to the point where I was holding myself up. Not even a pity party. It was worse than that. I was having like a pity quinceañera. I was. Had my fancy dress on, and I was just feeling like crap, and I didn't want to be around anybody at that point. We got third in the CTF in the 504 class, and the team with Yasik and David and Michael and Ryan and myself did the net war stuff, and we got second in that. We lost by 8 points, which I didn't really help on the second night at all. Once we got to level 3, it was just awful. So,
what part of it?
Well, level 3, once you get to that point, it's all web application based stuff. So apparently my 71%
that GWAP came in handy.
Yeah, kind of. No, there was actually, and I tell people this, I don't come from a place where I've learned, use Metasploit, and that was one of the things you actually had to do. You had to create payloads and all that stuff, and I'd never done that before, and I think we literally learned that in the class just before we did Net Wars. So a lot of that was still foreign to me, and I didn't know what to expect from Net Wars anyway. So it's definitely something you want to do if you are just like doing CTF challenges. They actually have continuous Net Wars online, which is like an online CTF that's just constantly going. but yeah, some of the things I asked John Strand about was, what, why you should use like SANS courses, and is it as useful as it used to be? Because there's so many other options out there. There's e-learning. Cyber, got some free stuff, which arguably is fairly decent. And of course, you have OffSec, which has OSCP, OSCE, and all those. And he was saying that it's a supply demand thing. The reason they're so expensive is they don't have enough instructors to teach all the courses they need. Like, some people are 24 weeks of the year teaching this stuff in addition to doing their own jobs regularly. So he said the reason they're so high is they're trying to find a price point, basically, that they can actually start paring down some of the classes and make them almost unattainable in many cases, where people will balk on them, from what I gathered. So, which, it seems weird that they would do that, but, they got to keep the quality of the classes up and the quality of the certifications, I guess. So,
the training that I'm actually going to end up taking is from Chris Sanders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he came out with a practical packet analysis 3rd edition. I wanted to have him on the show when it came out. Yeah. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet.
It's called Investigation Theory: The Mind of an Analyst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a lot of threat hunting type stuff. So
yeah, I saw that. I made it on his newsletter somehow, and I saw that link. So yeah, that's class.
So what I would have to say about this is, this is advice, so take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Do as much of this as you can.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of companies have this training budget,
mm-hmm.
right? And if you don't ask, if you don't go to HR and says, okay, what's our training budget? You may never know that your company does have a training budget. So it helps to go ask. Secondly, SANS courses are expensive. So if you can get your employer to pitch into that, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
I know the last SANS course I took, I had to choose one that was in my area. That way I could go, and not spend money on the flight.
Yep.
I could hole up, and my company just paid for the course, which was good for them. They didn't have to pay a lot of extra, like hotel and flight and things like that.
True.
So try to find one that's close to home. And I would say, take every advantage of that you can, because you're only upgrading yourself, right?
That's
it
right.
Makes yourself more marketable, makes you, ultimately it should help you to increase your salary, make you more valuable to the company, make you more employable.
Yep.
Right. So I'm taking a course at DerbyCon this year. I signed up for the Windows kernel programming course.
Cool. I actually signed up and got the red teaming one, so that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh man, we haven't been on since we talked about that. The ticket sold out in 3 minutes.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And they have a history of putting the tickets on for sale early. So they put them on like 5 minutes early, and they sold out in 3 minutes before the actual sale time. So
people were so mad.
They were mad the previous year that they sold out in 9 hours, and they were uber mad because of that. So they did say they were going to make some changes where it is actually going to happen on time now.
I still don't believe them.
Well, to be honest, I don't think it's hurting them by making those changes. And if you did like we did, and you're following Twitter ahead of time, they're going to be testing the ticket system. So that's how I got our 3 tickets for our contest.
You let out our secret.
I just don't test anything ever.
Is that what it is?
So I mean, I set an alert on my phone, so whenever they tweeted that out, I got the alert, and I was like, "Oh crap! It's like 2 minutes before time."
Yep.
So I went ahead and bought mine at that time. Actually, it was the class, and they let that one out ahead of time too. So they definitely have a history of opening up sales.
Yeah,
I think their training
was 10 minutes ahead.
Their training sold out in 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, and they,
Something like
they
that.
they have a wait list now, and I think they opened up like another class and stuff, so that's good. I don't know if all that's still available. They probably sold out anyway.
Their
Yeah.
training's always been really quality for the
Oh yeah,
price,
oh yeah,
you know?
1,200 bucks.
After I bought mine, I refreshed the page, and the class that I had just bought and two others had sold out.
Yep,
So it
yep.
was
The
minutes.
red teaming class sold out fairly quickly, so I'm going to be in there with Josh Schwartz, Fuzzy Knop. Hey Josh. Hey.
Hi, Josh.
Hey Josh. I'll be on the front row. Yeah. So
Wait, does he listen?
I don't know. Maybe he does. I don't know. He may be the other download we get every month. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We actually have 3 tickets we're going to give away, and that actually brings us to another point. Last year we did a CTF and an auction for a giveaway for DerbyCon. This year we're probably going to we're going to definitely do another auction, and we're working hard on our CTF. So we do have a Skunkworks on our Slack channel that we've invited some select few people, in addition to the members of the podcast, on to get. See, it's not a CTF in the regular sense, like where you're going to boot to root a VM or whatever. We had stages last year where we had various clues and such that you had to find the flag for to be able to do so. So we are looking forward to doing that again. We have some people.
It's
who
like
are
a
going
treasure hunt.
It
Oh,
is. It's yeah.
When you just said that, I just thought of a really good idea that I have to write down.
Please write it down because
Can you write it down now? Okay, let's pause.
Oh, okay.
No, you
For
guys
station
continue,
identification.
That's right.
continue to talk.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
we're-
thinking.
Yeah, we're not really recording this right now, so you can
She's
just do
connecting
whatever.
all the dots.
Yeah.
What?
We're not recording. Wait.
Yeah,
We have
no,
to
we're not
Do we have to
really-
do this another time?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do it again.
No.
No, so we did a lot last year with it. We used clues in the podcast, so people had to listen to the show. Ha 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 ha. We used Google Drive, and we used Google searches and various clues. So this year we're going to have a little bit more. It's going to be a little bit more complex, but it's not going to be overly difficult. If you listen to the show, if you listen to the content in the show, we might have shows that are actual clues to some of the levels that you might have to solve. So
I'm hoping to have some of my
Now-
stuff show up in
now
Shodan.
There might be shows.
There's one clue.
There might be shows that are clues, and there might be clues in the shows.
exactly.
Right. So
yes.
keep that in mind.
Yep. So we're really looking forward to that. I'm really excited about that. Depending on how popular DerbyCon gets, it may be the last year we do this. I don't know if it gets, because I'm a hipster, so I don't like going to things that are like mainstream. And so, once DerbyCon becomes mainstream, we'll have to, move on to something else. So like Sector or Infiltrate or something like that. So, so that's going to be coming up soon. We have until September 20th. So the CTF will start in like July or so. We'll definitely mention it on the show and we'll tweet it out.
Yeah. Besides Helena, the new DerbyCon
Peace. Helena, Montana. Okay. All right.
in January.
Oh, goodness. January in Montana. Yeah. So while I was in class, it was literally Thursday morning? Yeah, Thursday morning I was pretty much in a media blackout, but Mr. Strand comes in and he's like, "Hey, did you hear about the WannaCry stuff?" And I'm like, not heard about it. So apparently WannaCry is like the new MSO 8067, where SMB and actually there's been updates. There's actually Samba now has very similar vulnerabilities out that just came out recently, but SMB shares that are exposed to the internet basically have you have a new way to get into those. So we've gone almost 7 years now, or almost 10 years before we actually got another major RCE in SMB. So my question to the esteemed group of the Miss Berlin and Mr. Betcher is, why is SMB sitting on the internet exposed like that? What is the use case that a company would have that sitting out there?
Well, 1994 called,
Really?
right? Yeah, so
I
yeah,
feel
it
like
makes it easier, right? You just
Makes
start your
what
computer.
easier though? That's my problem. What are you transferring files or something using SMB? It's like, oh yeah,
Maintenance.
I mean,
Probably.
even email at this point would be a more secure option than having an SMB share open to the internet.
Okay, well, that wasn't the only thing, but it was a way in.
True.
Okay, so the main thing was once the attackers got, crossed the threshold of the organization, right? Once they got past the firewalls, then a lot of companies were wide open,
Sure.
right, for SMB once they
Yeah.
got in. So
right.
Oh, yeah.
a lot of this had to do with social engineering, where they would pop one box and then it spread within the company, not
Okay.
necessarily from the outside. But I did hear there were thousands of boxes popped from the internet. So
Yeah.
that's
There's over. I think the Shodan search showed over 400,000.
Okay, so now that is a much larger number than it was when we looked at it during class. I mean, we did a Shodan search for that, and it was only about 10 to 15,000. So, with there being 400,000 people, 400,000 hosts on with SMB exposed, do you think the majority of those are now honeypots?
300,000 honeypots?
I'm just asking.
You said
Because that number is way larger than what I
now,
remember.
where'd you
seeing
get
during class.
300,000?
no one. It says, all right, so the Hacker News article showed
300,000.
port 445.
Yeah, this is the Samba
Yeah.
one that just came out a couple days ago. So, this is the Samba Cry, not WannaCry.
Yeah, that's sorry.
No, that's okay. It's cool. Yeah, I see the link here, the Eternal Blue, and actually, from what I understood, Samba Cry used more of the NSA drop vulnerabilities than WannaCry did. WannaCry used like 2. This one used like 7, which I found interesting, but. Because you were, and then actually, Samba Cry actually has a Metasploit module which you can download in that article, so it's pretty much about your worst nightmare. But yeah, I think Mr. Betcher, you're right that this is it's not an exposed to the internet thing, because most companies that are smart don't expose SMB and Samba to the internet. It's used as a pivot once people get in, because most people create a hardened shell on the outside, and inside their whatever allegory you want to use, they're either an egg or a cantaloupe or a coconut or something, where it's a nice gushy middle. So, and you need 445 for Active Directory kind of issues. So
it's interesting. It hit China really hard.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe there's a lot of. Now, I'm not saying this is just China, but maybe there's a lot of Windows systems that are pirated, right?
Yeah.
So if a friend of mine told me this, I don't know where this is coming from, but if you do have a pirated Windows, operating system, you won't be able to update it. And it's possible that they had pirated versions that just weren't updatable.
Yeah.
And hence they didn't get the March patch.
Yeah, I think the reason that WannaCry got such a big deal was they said that England's UK's National Health Service was their systems were disrupted, which being healthcare industry, the vertical, isn't really known for security in the first place. So I'm not really surprised that they got popped from a healthcare perspective, because it seems like a lot of industries that have our most secure information are also the most secret information is also the most insecure. Utilities, healthcare, banking. Well, banking's a little better, but we see these companies that have all this secret information and our most trusted information, and yet they're the most insecure of systems and
intelligence agencies.
And yes, that is a true statement, sir. Yes. We found out. I had actually found out about the kill switch, which I found interesting. The initial version of WannaCry had the kill switch, which I loved, but I'd love to have that guy on, because he found it and bought the domain, which was cool, because it was a detection thing, like we've talked about before with malware. If it notices like you have one processor it won't run because it thinks it's running in a VM. Well, this one had a kill switch where it looked for a specific URL, and if the URL existed, then it would shut off because it would be assuming that it was being tested for. So yeah, that was kind of interesting, and he bought that.
He did it on accident.
He did it on accident.
He didn't know about the kill switch, I don't think, when he registered the domain. It's just part of the process that he was doing.
Oh,
that's what.
Yeah, he's like, is this domain registered? What is this? Right?
Okay, I didn't know that part. I just thought he bought it because he knew about it.
I mean, he had the thought, well, I'll go ahead and register it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
You know.
Very cool.
I heard there was like crap going on with him and journalists or something too. Like,
yeah, he tries to maintain his anonymity, and after he broke this, some idiot journalist made it their mission to dox this guy and basically put his real information out there on the internet. So never seen anything like that either. I was like, wow, that's, you don't see that often where journalists just want to put someone out there and make him a target. So
yeah, because that's kind of
thought
counterintuitive. Like who's going to ever come to you with a news scoop?
Yeah. What was your thought, Mr. Patrick?
So yeah, apparently the shadow brokers were selling this thing, and I got on I2P and I read their little article, and it said basically we want to sell this to the highest bidder, so we'll accept bids. You have to pay us in advance, and we're not going to tell anybody what the highest bid is. So just pay us as much as you think it's worth.
Yeah.
And we'll just take all your money and give these things away to whoever gives us more money.
I did not hear about that at all.
Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a website or whatever that you went to, or a blog article or a blog, something like that. I saw it on I2P, but I heard it was on some onion sites as well.
They couldn't give it away. Yeah, they were looking for like 1,000 Bitcoin, and they couldn't give it away.
Yeah, so then all of a sudden, you didn't know this, but Microsoft patched it in March.
Yep.
And then Shadow Brokers dumps it all on the internet right after that. But, okay, you're like, okay, why did they dump this? Because you didn't know that Microsoft had patched it. The Shadow Brokers just dumped it for whatever reason. No reason at all. It was unexplainable. And then a month later, this exploit gets public, and Microsoft is like, we already patched it back then. You guys just didn't know. So my theory is, well, what if Microsoft was actually the highest bidder on that? Because $100, $10 million. What's it to them, right? They're a ginormous company. This might be worth it for reputation's sake to patch these things. So what if they were the highest bidder, and shadow brokers just assumed that, man, this is worth a lot of money. These guys are going to keep it secret for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then Microsoft patches it. And then they get pissed off and they just dump it to the internet, hoping that, that someone can use it, because obviously they didn't.
Yeah.
Or they couldn't use it because everything's patched now.
Yeah. Well, some of the things that were patched, including the rare XP patch, apparently, and I was following Patrick Gray from Risky Business. He said the timestamp on that one was like February something. So they've known about some of these vulnerabilities. Microsoft, at least, has known about some of these vulnerabilities since at least February, and they didn't actually dump this stuff till May. So, I would be interested to find out if Microsoft was the highest bidder. That would make sense. I mean, with the narrative, to what have you, that they got a peek at some of the contents, but they didn't get all of it.
Yeah, that would be well worth the expense to them.
Sure.
To take that risk.
Probably a drop in the bucket too.
It would have been a drop in the bucket
for
a large company like that, and some hacker group's not going to be able to afford what Microsoft could afford. So I'm sure there was some wheeling and dealing going on, and the shadow brokers had no idea that they were dealing with Microsoft.
I understand Shadow Brokers now has like a subscription service, so you can sign up and get information like piecemeal. So they're going into like the malware as a service. No, Malware alerts is a service because they're the ones giving out the malware. So you get alerted when new stuff gets dropped, and obviously they're now legit because they've been dropping stuff that has definitely been used. I mean, that well's going to dry up eventually, but they have it out there. I think you can go and buy that. Of course, do you want to give your credit card number to some nefarious people? I mean, get a gift card, I guess, if you're going to do that, just in case. But
So maybe we can bring this up on a future cast after we do a little research. But I was thinking, like, okay, these Bitcoin accounts, people are monitoring these accounts for this WannaCry stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they got all this money, and so how do they get that money out of Bitcoin if it's being monitored? Let's say 20 governments in the world are monitoring this Bitcoin account, and whoever takes $1 out of there, they're gonna find them.
Yeah.
Right. Is that how it works? Because how are they ever going to get that money?
Well, the way I understood it was that, and actually we have this in our list of things to talk about, is like blockchain and how that works, and how Bitcoin anonymizes things, and then there's things like Ethereum, which apparently if you owned 1,000 Bitcoin back in 2010, it's worth like $35 million now. So,
Right.
If it's like baseball cards, if you kept them long enough, they're actually worth something now. But I'm sure that those can be watched for value to go down if they're in an exchange or something like that, where you can trade and use them as a commodity. There's the way they use it is they money launder, so they convert illegal money to Bitcoin, and then the money becomes untraceable because it's Bitcoin now. So I mean, I would imagine that you could take it out at your leisure. I mean, that'll sit in there forever, just gaining value depending on up or down on the market. And there's ways of taking
how do you launder Bitcoin though?
Well, you take the Bitcoin and you take it to a service that will like randomize the hash. And please, if I'm wrong, please somebody pipe up and tell me that I'm absolutely wrong. But from what I understand, that Bitcoins have a hash or have a piece that can be randomized again and again. And what you do is you take and you upload your Bitcoin to these services.
Okay, we need to get Satoshi Nakamura on the podcast, so you work on that.
If you can do that, we will be like upper echelon type shiz night on the podcast, people. I mean, if you can break that story, sir, but yeah, we'll definitely do more on Bitcoin in the future because it's never not been hot, and there are some security things about it, and there's hashing and all kinds of fun algorithms and stuff involved, and how to mine it, and owning so much of the blockchain makes it so that you can control it, which there's influence peddling there that can be done. So there's a lot of interesting security issues going on with that, and then of course the rise of Ethereum and all the other cryptocurrencies. So
the only way I thought you could do that is I've heard of people that have found Bitcoin wallets in like MongoDB instances.
Yeah. I just print out my Bitcoin onto like 20 pieces of paper.
Do ya?
Yeah, I'm old school, so I just have to fat finger them in when I want to buy something. Yeah. So the checkout, it takes about 40 minutes to check out because I have to type the hash out. So
right.
Get your checkbook.
Yeah. I guess if I did speech to text, it'd be a lot easier, but
probably.
Yeah. So what else was there to talk about? What did you guys think about the XP patch? Because everybody was all up in arms about that.
That was interesting.
Oh, that they actually sent out another patch?
Yeah.
They may have done it because there's a lot of things that have XP on it, like pause devices, medical devices, things that probably can't be patched or upgraded.
Yeah. As I say, things that probably aren't getting patches already.
Yeah. Well,
things that can't, can you put Windows 10 on a pause device? I don't know. Right?
They do have the pause version of Windows 10, but I mean, you can still get Windows XP updates for the pause-ready devices until 2019. I may or may not have a Windows XP VM that is still getting updates. So, yeah. I may or may not have made the registry change for that. But so that was a good, interesting point that Amanda said. They issued a patch for XP, but most of the devices that are getting XP up to this point have not gotten any patches. So does the patch that they issued only fix the necessary stuff to fix WannaCry, or does it also fix all the other SMB vulnerabilities up to this point?
Have they even been making patches for XP for those though?
Yes, I mean if you have a pause terminal or you've paid $1 Brazilian like the U.S. Navy did, you have extended support for XP. So it's still available, but they issued this one to like the general population. Everybody has access to it. So
I want to know. I don't have an XP box.
Well, I do. I haven't applied the patch yet because I was afraid of it actually bricking something because I wasn't using the actual version. But so you bring up a good point though, Amanda. You said the things that are running XP probably weren't getting patches in the first place. Medical devices, pause terminals, they don't regularly get updates. So companies and hospitals and financial institutions and Joe's bait shop should have already had additional controls in place to either isolate this machine to keep it from reaching out to the internet or having access from the internet to it. So what was gained by having a patch for something that you should have, by common sense, should have been isolated on the network in the first place?
Probably what am I trying to say here? It makes Microsoft look like the good guy. They're trying to help everybody by doing something free. It's like charity.
Well, it was really a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing, because there were people who were like, well, that just means that people won't upgrade now, and they're still on a dead OS. And then there are other people like you that said, oh, yeah, they look like a good guy because they still care about their XP people.
It's a gigantic vulnerability, but it would be pretty shitty not to patch it.
I think they had an internal talk and they said, guys, do we patch this or not? Okay, so what if we don't?
Yeah.
All these XP boxes, there's probably a lot of them out there that they have no choice but to run XP.
Yeah.
So, probably for publicity, good publicity, they went ahead and did it.
Yeah. So I was again listening. I think it was probably last week's episode of Risky Business, but Patrick does a really good job of reporting. So if you're done listening to this show, download Risky Business and listen to his. I won't hate you if you do that. I still listen to his show because it's a great source of information. He said that WannaCry affected mostly Windows 7 boxes because if you attempted to run MS 1710 against an XP box, it would cause denial of service. And Windows 7 was the earliest of the older operating systems that would actually be affected by this in a positive manner. And then I saw later versions where it was affecting up to I want to say 2008 servers, and then somebody came out with a patch that actually fixed it so that WannaCry worked for Windows 10 and 2012 server. So, if you're running Windows 7, you definitely want to patch because you're still getting... Well, you were getting patches up until last month. You're not getting patches anymore, right? It's end of life? No, that was
Windows
Vista.
7?
Vista was the one. Okay, so...
Vista.
No, I thought Windows 7 is getting... no, there was a Windows 10 version that went into life. That was the first rev of Windows 10 that came out.
Wow.
It was 1059 or something. It was
Yeah.
It was the one that still had the old patching type.
Okay. So, if you can get any kind of patches for Windows 7, please do so. But, it's
actually almost half of the market share is Windows 7 right now.
Well, yeah, because you still got grandma and your mom and everybody.
I'm surprised Windows XP went down so much. It's at 7%. It's at 7%.
Really?
Yeah, that's surprising.
Well, to be fair, it's almost 22 years old?
No, but based on a year ago when it was 30%, I think.
Well, isn't that part of the planned obsolescence? Microsoft gave people the option to upgrade to Windows 10 for free. Some people took advantage of it, but then you've got people whose boxes, if they're running XP, are getting on about 10 to 15 years old. So some of those
just be dying.
They would be dying, yes, or
Right.
hard drive corruption, or
It's going to take significant
Windows 7 was
significant work to actually get XP on a new box, or that same.
Yeah,
If they have outdated software that they have to use or whatever, you're gonna have to clone the box and make sure everything works on the new one. And,
yeah. I still have a Gateway recovery CD, I think, for my Gateway 350 megahertz box or whatever. But yeah, so I mean, if you got XP, even if you were affected, it would have just denial serviced or hosed up your box. So you would have known fairly quickly when you couldn't turn on your MRI scanner or you couldn't swipe cards at the terminal. So I just
could have been much worse.
Yeah, that's from everything I've read said it could have been far worse, and that people just happened to be catching on quickly enough that they were able to stop it from happening, because there was other things that they could have done to weaponize it or to make it a lot more painful for people. So if you have any other thoughts or questions as a listener, and you think we're full of crap, or I don't understand what Bitcoin is, please feel free to hit me up on our Slack channel or email us. So
We'll do that.
Please do that, sir. Yes, actually, don't we know somebody who knows something about malware who wanted to come and maybe talk about that? I don't remember.
You mean ransomware?
Yeah, ransomware.
Yeah. I heard.
Yeah.
I heard some things.
Well, maybe he'll come on and talk about that with us. So
Maybe.
Mr. Goff. So, all right. Well, I want it to be a short night because this is we recorded this the night before a holiday weekend, so everybody wants to get out and enjoy time with their friends. So we have one more announcement.
I just want to go to bed.
And Amanda has this thing called sleep that she likes to do. I don't know what the hell that means.
For us East Coasters.
Yeah. Well, it is what it's
11.
Well, you drink enough beer, eventually you're going to fall asleep.
That's right.
I have this thing where if I have one, I fall asleep. But if I keep drinking, I'm fine.
Oh,
okay.
Well, yeah. If you keep movement, you can't.
Yeah.
So we have a training announcement. So we just finished our Python course that went about 6 weeks long, which was great. Mr. Matt, we had a great time. We had about a half dozen to a dozen people at any one time in every class learning about Python and how to use it. We hope to do some more with Matt in the future with regards to Python. He's got some stuff he'd like to discuss with us for the future, but we're here to officially announce our next training class. One of our slackers on our Slack channel approached me, and she said, "Hey, I've got this web application security class that I'd like to give out." And what are you typing?
Just keep talking.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So Miss Sunny reached out on Slack and said, "Hey, I've got this class I'd like to give." She emailed me a copy of the slides, and she's got 85 slides already. So what we're going to do is, starting on June 14th, she's going to do a web application security class concerning Burp Suite, which is the interception proxy, and also pretty much the only tool that Mr. Strain used in class. He used a little bit of Zap, but the majority of the time when he was talking about the web application stuff, he was using Burp to intercept. And we did that. We used that for the exercises. So we're going to start that on June 14th. Now, we're doing it a little differently than we did our Python class. And for those of you who attended the Python class, you'll say, "Hey, that's way different." When you sign up for the class, what you'll do is we're going to charge for this class because we found that people tend to put more value in something that they pay for. So if you are interested in the class, you need to go to our Patreon, which is in the show notes, or you can go to patreon.com/breaking down BDS security. Let me see. Dang it. All right. Let me get to exit editor. I never use it. Okay, so it's patreon.com/BDS_podcast. And you'll see various, patron levels on there. So if you want to join the class and sign up and you want to learn about Burp, and it's a really great class. I actually showed I showed the slides to Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher here before, and they were suitably impressed.
Wonderful. They're wonderful.
Well, there you go. So we have 2 levels. One called the class attendee level. It's a $20 class. So it looks like about 3 to 4 weeks. I haven't gotten an email back from her about how long it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be about a 3 to 4 week class. So for $20, basically, you'll go and you'll attend a class over Zoom, like what we're doing the podcast on right now. I'm not looking at whatever it is you typed, Mr. Betcher. Okay, I'm looking at about 5 other tabs, and you're screwing the pooch here, buddy. We're also looking for new co-hosts, so no, I'm just kidding. So
You have to be named Brian, though.
It has to be named Brian. Yeah, that's the only problem. So if you're going to attend the class on the Zoom, pay $20 and you're in the class. So there's a maximum of 50 people. So that's the maximum size of the Zoom. If, let's say, because you live in a time zone that isn't conducive to allowing for this, and you still want to attend the class or get involved in the Slack channel for chat, we're going to be recording it as well. So you can go in and at the $9 level, you can get the videos immediately right after the class ends. And we'll send you a link in Patreon for the access to the videos, so you'll be able to watch those and follow along. If you don't want to do any of that, you can just wait until the class is done, and then we'll just post all the videos for free at some point in the near future after the class is over. If you're interested in doing learning more about web application security, if you're needing some CPEs for your CISA or CISSP, or you're just interested in learning how to use Burp or anything before that, sign up for the class. It's the link will be in the show notes. Just go into the Patreon and sign up. So we're really looking forward to having you on. And we actually thank Miss Sunny for taking the time to do that. So,
You're right, Brian.
You're killing me. Okay. Right. All right. So let's be done with this. Somebody's being a not a jackass. Somebody's being a jackass, literally and figuratively. So Miss Amanda, if people wanted to get a hold of you,
Wait, I have one more thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You did hold up your finger earlier. Yes.
Yeah, I had a real thing.
Okay, what's up?
So I, admittedly, even though I haven't actually put any work into this yet because my schedule's been crazy, but I am part of a group that's doing a DEF CON contest.
Really?
This year, it's if anybody's ever done Whose Slide Is It Anyways?
Oh, like improv slide stuff. Improv. Okay.
Yeah, it's an official DEF CON contest this year.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
So there's going to be judges and stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
So in the show notes, I put a link to, if you're going to DEF CON and if you want to do it, the sign up link. And it's at Improv Hacker on Twitter.
I can't see it. It's below a picture of Mr. Betcher. Wait.
It's on the second page.
There it is. Okay.
And yeah, it should be pretty cool. Some of the slides that I see the guys putting together already are pretty amazing. So I can't wait to put some of mine in there.
Okay.
Are they actual slides or?
Oh yeah. We so the first
taken from real talks.
No. I think some of them are.
So basically, you have to present, and they show the slides, right?
Yeah.
I've heard of this.
You get just like 5 minutes to present on a randomized slideshow. Like you get
cool.
I pick slideshow number 12, and then that's the one that you get, and that's the one you have to present on.
Is this something I'm going to be able to bring my 11-year-old daughter to?
Probably not.
Okay, so it is adult humor and adult related.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind if you go to DEF CON. Don't go, hey, let's go to the cool Whose Slide Is It Anyway? And then, you're going to see.
I don't know if they'll go that far. I would. I'm not sure. I need to talk to them about and see what the rules are.
Yeah.
But, the one that I actually helped do, I think it was at the first Circle City Con. I got to help throw in some of the slide decks, and one that I actually ended up with was a slide I had found online about artificial insemination. and it was hysterical.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like with bulls and stuff. Like the real,
Okay, all right.
the real deal.
We're good. Yeah. Okay. I get it.
So that's the idea.
So
It's not all tech related.
So explicit this week. Okay.
Hey,
Jeez.
it's a real thing.
It's cool.
It's an educational podcast.
No, I get it. Not that educational. Not that educational. All right. So yeah, check that out at DEF CON. Miss Amanda's got a link in the show notes and got a at Improv Hacker on Twitter handle for that. Is that for volunteers to like help make slides and stuff? Is that what you're wanting?
No, that's just for announcements and setting up and stuff.
Okay, cool. All right. So outside of that, how would people get a hold of you if they would like to?
At InfoSystir, INFOSYSTIR on Twitter or Slack.
Excellent. Mr. Hee-haw Betcher over there, how would people get a hold of you if they wish to get a hold of you?
I'm on Twitter at BetcherPwned or IMF Security,
all right.
logmd.com.
You just got your own little mini empire there, didn't you?
Trying.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm on Twitter mostly at BreakSec is our official podcast Twitter. At Brian Break is mine actually at BRYANBRAKE. I also do the local CitySec meetup, CSEC East. I don't mention it a lot on the show, and I probably should. But if you're in the Seattle area or in Redmond or Bellevue and you'd like to have a monthly meetup with a bunch of like-minded individuals, you can follow CSEC East at CSEA SEC SEC East. There is a CSEC, but I don't think they have a Twitter, and they don't really do anything. I actually know the guy who does that. He actually comes to ours. So, yeah. It's normally in the area of Redmond and Bellevue, and we go as far south as Mercer Island sometimes. If you're in Seattle, you know what that is. So yeah, so we have a Slack channel. Slack channel is going crazy. 380 people so far in the general chat, and it's very active group of people. We just started up an automation channel for discussion of automating scripts or making sure, if you're wanting to understand how to automate stuff with Python or Perl or...
Which is perfect, because that's what I've been working on.
With APIs or what have you. We have a whole channel dedicated to that. We also have a job board, which is going gangbusters. There's a lot of jobs in there. Some from Starbucks, some from Amazon. Disney was in there. We have some... yeah, I can mention Disney. It's cool. Yeah, and in addition to that, we have malware boards. So we have people like Tyler Hudak who comes in and we ask questions about malware and reverse engineering. We have a pen testing channel. We also still have our Python channel. So if you're interested in just discussing things about Python, that's cool too. So yeah, we talk about a lot of stuff. There's a lot of great people in there, and of course we have our CTF club and book club, which we need to get back on schedule with the book club and the CTF thing. We're doing a European version. Going good. Say what?
Book club we just changed the day and the time.
Okay, when is that?
Because of summer. Now it's Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Okay. And then we have a CTF club, still doing the TOS. We're on level 19 for that. So we've got a lot of going on. I mean, we've got the CitySec meetup, we've got the podcast, we've got Slack. It's very active on Slack. So if you're looking for some networking opportunities, please join us in there. So, all right. So if the stars align, and I'm going to call it right now, we're supposed to have Miss Jessiesaurus Rex on Twitter join us on Tuesday.
You didn't do that.
Shut up, dude. I'm going to make this happen. She said it was cool. We're going to make this happen. Okay.
Knock on wood.
Knock wood, man. So she's going to come on and talk about whatever it is she would like to talk about, because she's a pretty cool lady. And she did a keynote in South Africa just recently, so we're gonna talk to her about that and some other stuff. So yeah, catch that late next week. So all right, it's glad to be back. I'm glad to be back in the seat here. I realize that I need to learn a lot more, having been humbled by Sec 504, and I want my listeners to be smarter than me, to exceed me. Most fathers want their children to exceed them and be smarter than them and be more successful. So that's our mission in life, is to make everybody just a little bit smarter than us. So that's it for Breaking Down Security. What's that?
Too late. They already are.
Just one last kick to the teeth, man. All right, that's it. We're done breaking down.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. We're going breaking down security. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.